Bottle of fruit pops off and the bubbles bounce all around the room. And it tastes so good going down, but it's not quite as delicious as you. Whoa, 'cause I'm in euphoria, in the arms of my girl. I'm in euphoria, and it's taking me out of this world, out of this world.
I'm Nick Earls and I'm here as part of Byron Bay Writers Festival. It's great to get the chance to be back among these crowded tents yet again. Lovely festival to come to.
Because our chair, Chris Hanley, always says that he thinks they should be called Readers Festivals, not Writers Festivals. You know, the audience is predominantly made up of readers, but of course amongst those are people who would either like to write or do write. I mean, you see a lot of writers peppered through the audience.
From Sydney, I'm a writer and here to enjoy the magnificent sunshine, the amazing authors and the great community.
I think from a writer's point of view, I spend much of my time, my writing time, shut away from the world deliberately, and I am at heart an introvert and that satisfies that side of me, but I've trained myself to go out in public now and liaise with people, live people in front of me. I think the great thing about Writers' Festivals is that it's in a huge gathering of the community of people around books who are fascinated by this kind of thing, and it's a live audience, and you write the book and you think, I hope people will like it. You get to talk about it and maybe read from it in front of hundreds of people, and you hear the live response in that instant. That's a great feeling.
And Beryl said, "That's disgusting. You can't put that in a book." So then Mum rang me back the next day and I said, "Mum, it's too late. It's gone to the printers."
You take sometimes a crisis and right in your face for the best to come out in people. And I think we're wise. I think the common herd, and we are a herd of 7 billion mammals, has a collective wish to get on with each other, to keep the planet viable and to pass it on to our children. And I push very strongly the philosophy that everything we should do, we should ask ourselves this question: will our children 50 or 100 years from now thank us for doing this? And if you can say yes to that, you're okay. And if you can't, or you don't know the answer to that, we shouldn't be doing it. And yet we're doing what we shouldn't be doing. The current government is an excess, and we'll bounce back from it. But it is the most abreactive, environmentally destructive government in living history in Australia. And we voted for it, eyes wide open.
I was asked by one of our stakeholders to highlight the sessions that she should see, and I think I highlighted 100 out of 105 sessions that we have out at the main festival side, and that is the truth. We've had overflowing tents for all the sessions on big issues. Bob Brown has been a huge hit, of course, and truly people have been flowing out the back of the Marquees for those sessions.
And Malcolm, it has to be said, there were few more fervent supporters of the alliance and of at least one of those wars, Vietnam, when you were Army and later Defence Minister in the late 60s and early 70s.
But I was wrong.
Now I know that how often does one hear a politician say that, even a former politician?
I just like the way they deal with interesting topics, things that you don't necessarily get an opportunity to debate in everyday life.
The vibe around and the culture and subculture in Berlin in those days was just quite extraordinary. I think that's another thing that probably has now gone, and you know, we won't see that again. But that's because that left-wing subculture, like that Marxist subculture that came out of Commune 1. I mean, the band that I put together they actually came out of Commune 1. So Yeah, it's pretty amazing times.
Was Carl in that band?
Karl Marx?
No,
No, Groucho and Harpo.
So the main thing is trying to get a mix of appropriate genres and some, highlights, well-known people, lesser-known people, because it's great to come to a festival and discover new voices and new writers as well.
So Equal Justice was actually a book that I had to be convinced to write. I'm not an author. I am a lawyer by profession, and I'm also a retired officer. And I spent a lot of my time, I've spent a lot of my career in my life helping others get justice and helping others find a voice. So writing was never really on my radar and never something I thought that I would ever be capable of. But through my story, through my journey, through a high-profile incident in the UK that I was involved in, which had a very military context to it, it was a story that a number of people kept saying to me, you've got to share this story, you've got to write the book. I'm a mother of 5-year-old triplets, I work full-time, I run a business, so my response was always, that sounds great, but where's the time? Until a friend of mine sat down and convinced me that I needed to make time to write it. It was a story that needed to be told, and I think now more than ever in our country, in our society, in our world, we need courageous women to stand up and tell our stories.
I'm Tristan Bancks, and I'm a local children's and teen author, and I'm here talking about global literacy today in a couple of sessions. My experience is as a writer ambassador for Room to Read, who build libraries for school libraries for kids in the developing world, about 16,000 school libraries in 14 years, and then they've also educated 25,000 girls around the world, and they're very strong on girls literacy and educations. And then tomorrow in the kids tent on Sunday, where the kids go wild, and I'm going to try and get my revenge for kids sliming me last year.
I come every year to the Writers Festival. It's one of the highlights of my year. I think that it's a privilege that we have this festival where we can be so mentally stimulated and inspired for 3 days. I lap it up. I sit like a little groupie at the base of the stage, and have even known to stalk a few of the authors.
I'm here because I wanted to see Bob Brown, and I wanted to see John Safran, and Missy Higgins was fantastic, and we're about to see Malcolm Fraser, and it's an amazing crowd. It's a beautifully run festival, and I feel very proud to be living in Byron Bay.